Hello, what's up YouTube photographer Ronix Photography, and this tutorial I'll be showing you high-end skin retouching from the very start to the very end with no steps skipped. So simply like this video and don't forget to subscribe this channel if at all you're watching and you're not yet subscribed to this channel. So simply like this video and we can kick in with this very tutorial. So with this, we're just going to be learning frequency separation, and it is a skin retouching technique that is going to divide the image into the textures and the colors. So we're simply going to come right here to the adjustment layers and press Ctrl, or you can use Command J. So just press Command J twice to create those two layers for frequency separation. And after creating those two layers, double click to rename. So double click on that middle layer and name it to color. And you're going to name the up layer to the texture. So just name it texture. So you double click to rename. So after doing that, simply come and hide the texture layer and select the color layer. So when you select the color layer, simply come to where you see filter, then come to blur and come to Gaussian blur. So for this step, what do we want to do? We simply want to blur out the textures from the color layer which is selected. So in order to blur out the textures from the colors, we simply select an area on the skin that seems to have more skin textures than the rest of the image. So you select that area. So for this, we're simply going to come and select this forehead area, and it has more textures. By textures we mean skin details. And after selecting it, just come to the radius and you left click. So you left click and start moving that up, and as soon as you start moving, you can see the textures are starting to look blurry or out of focus. So the major point for this step is we just want to stop at the point whereby we can no longer see the textures visibly well. So left click once again and start dragging up. So you drag up as you're releasing the left click button to see the effect in real time. So you're just going to come and take it up just like that. So you're going to take it up. So at about 7, that is when the textures are just starting to disappear. So depending on the image you're editing and the amount of details, these values may be varying or different. So just come and click OK. But remember, this is the most important step when it comes to editing, skin retouching, and frequency separation in general. So make sure that you are careful enough with this first step that we have just done. So just come and select the texture layer and activate it. And after activating it, simply come to image and come to apply image. So for the selected layer, remember we only want to remain with the textures. So we are dealing with a 16-bit image. So the source is the name of the image. The layer, simply come and select the color layer. So we just want to extract the textures from the colors. So just come and select the color layer. The channel has to be RGB. And the blending has to be add. So just click and select add. Opacity at 100%. Preserve transparency and mask cannot check. Make sure the scale is 2 and offset 0. And after doing that, simply make sure that the preview is turned on and simply hit on the invert option, and you'll see the textures appearing on this gray layer which is lacking colors. Then if at all you're dealing with an 8-bit image, simply come and don't turn on the invert option. So for an 8-bit image, select the color layer, channel RGB, blending has to be subtract, the scale has to be 2 and offset 128, and simply click OK. So mine is a 16-bit image, so I'll simply change it to add, scale is 2, offset 0, and simply turn on the invert option, and I'll just come and click OK. So just want a blend mode that is going to hide out the gray color from this very layer. So just come and select normal and change it from normal and change it to linear light, and we'll get back the image that it was meant to be. So after doing that, simply select both layers by pressing Ctrl, or you can use Command, then press Ctrl G, or you can use Command G on the keyboard to group these. So you can double click to rename this to frequency separation. And after doing that, we are simply going to come and open up the overall group. So basically it is the same image that we have divided into the colors and textures. So to prove that, you can simply come to the background layer and simply turn it off, and you can see we have basically the colors alone and the textures alone. So when you combine both the colors and the textures, we end up with the same image. So we're going to come and simply turn on our background layer. So what we do with frequency separation, we work on the textures and the colors independently, so that when we perfect the colors or the skin tones, and we also perfect the textures by removing the pimples or blemishes, we end up with a nicely edited image after combining both the edited colors and the edited skin tones or skin color. So that is what we want to do for this step. So in order to work with the colors, we want first of all hide the textures. You can as well work with the color layer turned on, it has no problem, but to identify where or which colors to blend, we simply have to turn off the texture layer so that we don't get distracted as we are working on the colors in the image. So select the color layer after turning off the texture or high frequency layer, and after doing that, simply come to the brushes, right click and get the mixer brush tool. And if at all your mixer brush tool is not displaying under the brushes, you can locate it down here. So I've selected my mixer brush tool, and make sure you set it up so hardness 0 soft round brush is selected. Make sure clean brush is selected, and we have two options right here. So make sure you select the option that says clean the brush after each and every stroke right here, and make sure the weight is 9%, load 75, mix 90, flow at 100%. And after doing that, make sure sample all layers is not turned on, because when you leave this layer turned on, if at all you're going to work with this layer turned on, and you select sample all layers, when you are trying to paint using the brush, when you're working on the skin tones or skin color, it is going to copy information from both layers and paint them in the selected layer, which is the color layer. That is why you can see you have painted back textures in the color layer, which we don't want. So I'll undo that. So make sure sample all layers is not turned on, and hide the texture layer. With the color layer selected, we now want to start applying the mixer brush tool or working on the skin tones or skin color. So to work on the skin color or skin tones, we are going to increase on the size of the brush by using the bracket keys on the keyboard. And if at all the mixer brush tool is showing a plus icon, simply press the caps lock key on the keyboard. So to work on a given area, you reduce on the size and you paint a given color. So just paint a given color, and after making sure that it is nice and uniform, you move to a new area and reduce on the size and also paint on another area. So to paint, we simply left click and hold down. If at all you are not using a graphics tablet, you left click and hold down and you move the cursor or brush in a given direction, but you always have to follow the way a given area is shaped. And while these colors are transitioning from one color to another, we use a small brush and blend those transitions. But as we're doing this, you can notice that the skin looks a little bit more on the plastic side, but don't mind, for this step we are basically working on the skin color or skin tones. So I'm just going to come to this area and also blend just like that. I've blended that color alone. Come to this color right here and also blend just like that. Come here and also blend. So mix this color to get rid of that line which was existing, just like that. And you always have to follow the way a given area is shaped. And as you're blending, make sure you don't zoom all the way in, because when you zoom all the way in, you won't be seeing the uneven skin tone transitions or the unevenness within the skin color. So make sure you retouch at a distance. So I'll increase slightly. So I want to work on the nose area, so I'll use a small brush to blend on the dark area of the nose, just like that. And also use this same size and also blend on this other side of the nose, and use a small brush to mix or blend or work on the highlight area of the nose. So I'm just going to come and continue blending. So you always have to take your time as you are trying to mix and blend the transition between the skin tones. So When we come back and we turn on the texture or high frequency layer, you can see that the textures are still left in the image and they are looking intact. So you can see before, after, before, after. So just hide this once again, and we just want to work on the other areas that we may not have worked on. For example, the hands. Remember, we are doing skin retouching, so every area that has skin has to be perfected or worked upon. So I'll mix those dark tones, reduce on the size, and work on these bright tones and work on these other dark tones. So you left click and mix a given area, and after mixing it, you go straight to another area. So you have to keep on playing around with different sizes of your mixer brush tool to have variations and get better results. So I'm just going to come and paint just like that, paint on those areas and blend them. So follow the direction or the shape of the area that you're trying to work on, so that you don't change or distort the original shape of the model's face or body structure. So I'll just work on the neck area. So after doing that, just come and turn on the texture or high frequency layer, and you can see it's a before after for just working on the skin tones or skin color. So after we have done that, the next thing is going to be removing the pimples or blemishes. So to remove the pimples or blemishes, we select the texture or high frequency layer, and after selecting it, you can now zoom into the image by using Ctrl+ on the keyboard. So right now you have the liberty to zoom in. So to remove a given pimple, for example this one, select the high frequency layer and make sure you come and select the clone stamp tool. Make sure the hardness is set to 0%. The mode is normal, opacity at 100% and flat 100%. Make sure align is selected, and make sure the sample is set to currently, because you just want to remove blemishes that are part of the currently selected layer. So to remove a given blemish, for example this one, you make sure that the size of the blemish is slightly bigger than the blemish that you want to remove, and hold down the option key on the keyboard. So with the option key selected or the alternate key on the keyboard, left click on an area near the blemish and simply left click once again over the blemish after releasing the alternate key on the keyboard. So once again, it is you left click and hold down the option key on the keyboard, option left click to copy clean skin, then you release the option key or the alternate key on the keyboard and simply left click once again over the pimple or the blemish that you want to eliminate from your image. So take your time as you're trying to clear or remove these pimples or skin imperfections. So I'll just take my time, and I don't want us to miss out on any step. So you can forward if at all you feel I'm taking some time on this very stage, but I just want you to follow and understand that skin or perfect skin retouching takes time and a lot of patience. So enjoy this. So take your time, and if at all you're watching and haven't hit the like button on this video, I just request that you hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe, because I notice majority of you just watch without subscribing. So simply do me a favor and support me by hitting that like button. So I'll just come and paint just like that. So I'm trying to remove the pimples or skin imperfections or the blemishes on the model's skin. So to remove a line, you simply copy and drag around to remove a given line. So for example this line right here, so I'll just copy and drag just like that, and by just doing this we are going to end up with a nicely retouched image. So we first of all worked on the colors. Right now we are perfecting the skin textures so that we can end up with a nicely edited or retouched image. So take your time as you are doing all this in Photoshop, because you don't want to be that kind of careless retoucher. So zoom out and look at what we have been able to achieve. So this is the image initially, before, after, before, after. This is what I've been able to achieve when we're using skin retouching and frequency separation. So if at all you want, you can proceed and continue working on the image. So I just wanted to focus more on frequency separation. That's the before after. So in order to save the image so it doesn't change in color when you post it or print it out, simply come right here to File, Export, and come to Export As, and it's going to open up the Export As window in Photoshop. So make sure the format or the file format is set to JPEG, quality all the way to the maximum, which is 7. Then the samples to be set by cubic sharper, because we want Photoshop to sharpen the image for us as we are saving it. And make sure you check these two options, convert sRGB and also embed color profile, and simply hit export. And after exporting, it is going to help you locate, or you locate where you want to save the image and simply hit save. So this is how you can easily learn and understand frequency separation, skin retouching from the very start to the very end. And if at all you have enjoyed this, simply like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If at all you have been watching and you're not subscribed to this channel, Ronix from Ronix Photography. Thanks for watching, and see you in more videos on this channel. And don't forget to keep practicing and also keep creating.